Hi, this is Edward Troxel. In today's tutorial we're going to continue where we left off in the previous one. In the previous two tutorials we built the basics of our custom command. Today we're going to learn how to add the debugging portion, and then let's add something to the screen so we can actually see it do something and test it. So let's get started. First, let's look at the debugging. To get to that screen, let's right click on our CC test over here, and then we can go to properties. This will bring up the screen that shows us our application, our build options, and then here's our debug option. First thing we're going to do is choose our startup program, and that will be Vegas. So we'll go to Drive C, Program Files, Vegas, Vegas Pro 19, and then we'll choose the Vegas Pro 19 EXE. So then we put in our command line arguments. It's going to be -cmd module : and then we have to put the full path to where our DLL is located. And you'll notice it says C:/test scripts, which is the folder that I originally created it in, then the CC test. Then we have to go inside the bin, and then inside the debug folder, and then the cctest.dll. Let's come over to our form. And if we open our all Windows forms, we will see all of our various options we can add to our form. Let's throw a label on here, and I'm going to change the name of this label to LBL Tracks. Let's throw another label on here, and I will name this one LBL Video. And then let's throw a third label up here, which I will name LBL Audio. And then let's add a button on here. We will name this button BTN Count Tracks, and then we'll come down to the name of the button and we'll say Count Tracks. Now obviously this is going to be a really simple task, but it will give our custom command something to do. So now that we have all of these on here, if we double click on this button, it will create a new routine over here in our main form code. So let's now drop the code into that routine. We'll create a variable called vidtracks and set it to 0, a variable called oddtracks and set it to 0. Then we're going to go through every track in the project. We will look to see, is this an audio track? If it is, we will increment odd tracks. If it is not, we will increment vid tracks, and then we are going to set the 3 labels that we added to the various counts that we found. Our total tracks we'll just get from our tracks.count, and then for the video tracks we'll use our vid tracks variable. For our audio tracks we'll use our odd tracks variable. So now let's try to run this by just pushing on start. And we will see that it popped up an error message. Now the error message is basically saying that part of Vegas was built on .NET 4.8 and we are currently set on .NET 4.0. So let's go back to our settings over here, and we'll come up here to application. You will see we are on .NET 4. If we drop this down, we will see that there are a bunch of different options. So we will change this to 4.8 and say yes, we want to change this. Let's go back and look at this form. Let's go back and look at our code over here. Make sure everything still looks okay. And all of our code still looks okay. So now let's try to start it again. Our build succeeded. So if we look under View, Extensions, we will see that My Test Custom Command is now listed there. So let's click on that, and it is now open. Here in Vegas Pro 19, you'll notice we have a little anomaly down here in that we don't have any of our tabs listed down here. I notice this seems to be an issue with Visual Studio 2019. We'll take a look at that in just a second, but let's add a couple of tracks here. So let's add a video track, an audio track, add another video track, and then when we click on this count track buttons, you'll notice it says we have 3 tracks, we have 2 video tracks, and we have 1 audio tracks. So we can see that the extension is indeed working. So let's get out of this, and we'll need to click on stop over here to actually stop it from running. Now, as I said, we've built this in Visual Studio 2019. So if I go to Help About, you'll see that we are in Visual Studio Community 2019. I also have Visual Studio Community 2015 loaded on my system. If I load this exact same project, it does actually load with no changes at all, and click on Start. Now Vegas Pro 19 opened. It loaded with all the tabs visible, and so I'm not sure what the difference is between Visual Studio 2015 and 2019, but with 2015 it will load the tabs. Notice under View, Extensions, it does say My Test Custom Command, and then down here on the tab it says CC Test. If you remember in our previous tutorial, those are the names that we gave it. So once again, if I insert a video track, let's insert another video track. I'm going to insert an adjustment track. Let's insert an audio track, another audio track, and then another video track. And then if we do count tracks, you see that there are 6 tracks total. 4 of them are video tracks, 2 of them are audio tracks. So even though this one is listed as an adjustment track, it's also still a video track. So we can see that this is indeed working. If I delete one of these tracks and run this again, notice now it says we have 3 video tracks, 2 audio tracks for a total of 5 tracks. Looking back at the Debug tab, let's take a look at the file path after the command module command so that we can see exactly where that is coming from. If we look here on our computer, this is where it is actually located. It's inside our test scripts, CC test, bin, debug, and then there's the DLL file. Which brings me to another point. Notice we have a bunch of other files listed in here. We really don't need all those, and all those do not need to be copied over to where our script is going to be, and those are very easy to get rid of. So let's look at that right now. If we come over here and look at scriptportal.vegas, we see there's a copy local. Let's change that to false. And then let's just go through and make sure all of the rest of these are also set to false. And now the next time we build, so if we go to Build, Rebuild Solution, the build is complete, and if we go back and look in that folder again, you will notice all of these other files are now gone. So in this tutorial we've learned how to actually get it to run and show up in Vegas. We've seen an issue that we found with the development environment, but we found a way around that, and in fact, even with the problem, it still does run. So we've learned how that you can get into the debugging environment so that if there is a problem, it will stop and show you where the problem is. We didn't have any problems this time, but if there was, it would have stopped in the code and showed us where the problem was. Next time we'll continue and expand on this script a little bit so that we can see some more things you can do with custom commands. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.